in honor of Asian Heritage Month, and we all know how important honor is to us all, I've brought in a special guest and friend to give our top recommendations for queer Asian films to watch. Please welcome Tony Tran.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, my name is Tony. I'm an actor and writer based in Toronto. I've been mostly doing film and television, theater here and there. Thank you. I was in a show called True Dating Stories for an episode, season 2. It's on CBC Gem. So that was really fun, and that's what helped me get the roles I got after.
So we've watched a bunch of queer Asian films before, and I have like top 3 choices. So one of them is called Two Weddings and a Funeral. And so that is from Korea, actually, South Korea. It was made in 2012. Pretty lighthearted and funny. It's about how a lesbian and a gay guy go into a fake marriage together, and there's they have to hide it from their parents.
뭐야? 네 옷을 왜 떠나?
아니, 어머니 오시자마자 찬장부터 확 열어보시더라고. 아무래도 이번에 확정일 것 같아. 비장결혼 이거 쉽지 않아.
Oh, that's so cool. So they're basically like each other's beards.
Yeah.
But what's the, why did they have to get married?
The lesbian wanted to adopt a child. It does touch on parts about being closeted. It can be hard to be LGBT in Korea, so we do see a little bit of that in the movie. And then actually I like how the gay guys aren't it's a good range of bodies, and they're not K-pop stars. They're
세상에 게이들 처음 봐? 어따 대고 호모야 호모는.
아니 언니들이 좀 티를 냈어. 애들도 있는데 팔짱 끼고 뽀뽀하고 해.
왜? 지들은 안 해? 이성애전 되는데 우리는 안 되는 이유 있어?
But I also recommend a film called Dear X. So that's a Taiwanese film. It's also on Netflix, actually. It's one of my favorite queer Asian films. Not that I've seen a lot. So Dear X is about a kid who's stuck between his mother and his late father's boyfriend. The mother, she's very annoying, but she's trying to get the boyfriend, this is a secret boyfriend, by the way, to return the insurance of her husband's death. So it's a comedy, mostly, strangely enough. It's a comedy drama. And what I love about it is that cinematically, it's so clean. It's fun. It's stylistic. And the characters are so complex because you go through this journey with them and you sympathize with them. You feel bad for this mom because they all just want closure at the end. On the technical side, I also love the script because it's so snappy, it's so fun, and
I also like even though they're the funny comedic bits, they really balance it out nicely with such tender moments. Soft,
yeah,
tender.
And I think that's a testament to the director who knew how to pull out. It's it feels earned. You know what I mean? Yeah, these are all crazy moments, but they all make sense because it comes to that point where we see that real tender bits of them and the raw feelings they had over this death, right? So yeah, that's my recommendation for a queer Asian film.
Okay, so my next recommendation is Saving Face. So it's a movie directed by Alice Wu, who just released the half of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I say people should watch this one first, just because it's one of the few queer Asian films for queer women. It was released in 2004. It's centered in North America, so it's very Asian American.
Mm-hmm.
What it's about. So saving face, it's a common phrase, especially in Asia, about avoiding humiliation, right? Avoiding embarrassment, keeping up appearances. And so this focuses on 2 stories of a daughter who is a lesbian and her mom, who is a single mom, a single parent. And they find out that the mom is pregnant and they don't know who the father is. It's a secret. And so they have both these things that they have to save face about among their Chinese community in New York.
Because she has a surprise.
Huh? What are you doing here?
맞아.
of her own.
Baby.
Who's the father?
She won't say.
It's interesting, and I like that it doesn't just center on queer lesbian relationship, which is definitely a big part of the story, but it's also focused on family, on the mother-daughter relationship. And I think family is such important in our Asian cultures, and to me it hits home a lot. Yeah, this one should be on everyone's list. Funny story, I watched it with my mom. And there is like a spicy, sizzling queer
lesbian
woman,
sex
like, lesbian sex scene. And I'm like, this is awkward.
Was this before or after you came out?
Oh, shoot. It was in a really gray area where it was kind of out, but not. We didn't stop.
But you have to save face.
Yes. We didn't talk about it too much.
That's so interesting. Yeah.
It was so awkward. Yeah.
I think it was interesting, like Alice Wu as a director. So she's in Hollywood, so that's super rare for like a queer Asian director, right? But she didn't make anything until the half of it, and so the story is that she had to take care of her mom. Her mom was sick or something, and then so she had offers to do jobs, but she like family first, and so that's why she's been quiet until like the half of it. I'm like, oh my god, what an amazing director.
Do you want to talk about the half of it as your other recommendation?
Yes, it's about introverted, closeted queer Asian lady.
Girl, she's in high school. She's not a lady.
I'm sorry. Queer Asian high school student who writes letter for this guy who's in love with a girl she's in love with. Yeah. And it's just like in a small town and like just that adventure. It is very beautiful, cinematically like amazing. There's a lot of little nuggets. So what I loved about the half of it is like despite the micro racism, she shows a world where it's like that's not dangerous. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like not violently.
Like it's not, there's no violence, and I feel like for the new generation, at least us watching it, it's like this is the world we could be in.
You know what it's like to finally meet someone your age who gets you? Love, it's not finding your perfect half.
But the only like Canadian queer movie I've seen was like Richard Funk's Orientation, and that's a documentary, right? Yeah, so Orientation was like follows a couple of Toronto queers and like the intersections of being Asian and queer in North America. And then what's interesting is like he made another one 30 years later, I guess, called Reorientations. And so it's like a double feature kind of deal. I think for me watching that, it's like, okay, so they could succeed and like still live and like prosper and like continue.
And so I think we're very lucky that we have the orientations, because it's not often we can see actual documentation and physical videos of queer Asian people back then. But it's like proof that we existed too.
It's proof, yeah, in case like, the apocalypse happens and like Buddha comes down and is like, where are the queers? And we show him a video. Yeah, that's the future.
3 decades later, I recontact the participants.
It's over 120 this year.
I'm curious to see how we've changed, how the world has changed.
This one is my top recommendation. Like, I think this is the best one to watch. It's called It Gets Better, and it's from Thailand. So it was released in 2012. And what's super cool is that the director is a transgender person, and they were recently elected as a member of parliament in Thailand in 2019.
Whoa.
So they're the first ever openly transgender MP.
The director is Tanwarin Sukapsi.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm probably not pronouncing it right, but...
Probably not.
So It Gets Better is a film focused on transgender women. And it's great. Like, just the story itself is brilliant. The visuals are beautiful. So it follows 3 storylines, and you figure out how they connected in some way. It's touching. It's beautiful. You get involved in the characters. Highly recommend this one. So thank you, Tony, for giving us your insights and expertise. I hope our viewers enjoyed that and learned about some queer Asian films that they would like to watch. Is there anything you wanted to say?
No.
Okay. So if you want more suggestions for queer Asian content to watch, check out our other videos.